Crystal. This is my first time going live ever.
We're in Los Angeles. And we are, I don't know. Guys, I've told myself that I probably would be comfortable with vlogging while I'm in LA, but I still am not. Like, it's still really weird to just be like, hey guys, it's me. Like, even though I'm in LA, I guess it's not that weird because
people have been doing it all the time.
Yeah, like should we just sit down? Or like, I don't know. I'm like uncomfortable about, I'm like uncomfortable about like vlogging in public. We're like at a Starbucks right now.
We're like, yeah, we're lounging against a wall right next to a Starbucks.
We're like literally next to the trash can. But, anyway.
We wanted to talk a little bit today about FI and TI. And
I'm so awkward. Can we walk and talk? Is that weird?
That, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna walk and talk.
We're gonna walk down this nice neighborhood. Maybe
so you guys, okay, let's go this way. So you guys, I'm from the Midwest, okay? It's already weird enough for me to be in a place and I'm noticing that people have absolutely no shame about getting their friends to take 15 selfies in front of a wall. They have no shame. They are getting that angle. They're getting that angle correctly. But anyway, that is like not something that I'm used to. And so right now, even just me doing, who'd you wave to? Them? Oh, I was like, do you know them?
Who the fuck is watching?
But anyway, so Crystal and I have been talking a lot about FI and TI today, and so I wanted to take you guys with you. Oh, a live synchronic Sunday. It's literally Sunday.
Is that Saturday?
You're so right. But okay, Crystal was saying that she feels like my TI comes up way more with her than maybe with most people, and I think that's true. My TI probably does show up with ENFPs in particular, but also INFPs, because their lack of TI annoys me, and so I will just, I normally am, because like my FE tries to smooth out the gaps, and when I notice that someone is lacking something that I think is important, then I'm gonna like overdo that. But anyway, what were you saying about that?
I guess I feel like I totally can do that with an FJ too. Like, I'll feel myself become more TE and like have to make up for the non-TE in the room, and FJs do that with NFPs because of just FPs because of our lack of TI. And the theory that we were thinking about was that when we use one function, the other one turns off.
Okay, so here's what I said to Crystal. She was asking me, I guess, for some advice, some love advice, if you will. And we're not gonna go into that, but I realized that, okay, there's been several times whenever I would do something and Crystal would be like, well, why would you do it if you knew that it was gonna make you unhappy? Because FI is always looking at like the TE of what you do and then how you're going to feel after that. And FI is very protective about the things that they do. They know when they're gonna be triggered. They know when something is gonna like hurt them. Do you wanna just like stick around here for a sec?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no one really here. And so she's questioned me about that before and been like, well, why'd you do that if you know that that is gonna hurt? And can you explain that a little more?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes like FE users will like I'll see like a red flag, like that guy isn't gonna like treat you right if you go and like hang out with him, like it's your ex or something. And it seems to me like FE users kind of almost self-sabotaged by talking to someone that to me they shouldn't be talking to, because my TE after like a breakup would make it a rule to never all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, do you not know what you're doing? Do you not know any better than that your FI is gonna get hurt if you're involved with that dude?
Oh, we're live. Okay.
Seem to like not want to take preventative measures to not get hurt, and we were commenting about this, and then what did you say about that?
Okay, so essentially I think that FI and TI are both opposites, and TI seeks understanding. And TI would rather understand than like protect themselves. And I've noticed that. So Crystal, I guess, has a point, like as an FI user, that like you shouldn't just put yourself in a situation that you know is gonna make you hurt. Like taking certain risks with certain people, or like putting yourself out there in certain ways that might make you hurt. Like as an FJ, I will often do things and then be shocked. Like, I can't believe that person said that. And she's like, well, you should have known that like you were putting yourself in like a vulnerable position.
Because they've done that before, etc.
But FJs, our curiosity gets the best of us. Like, we don't care as much
curiosity kills
about getting hurt.
TI users.
We're like too curious.
And I think
my INFJ significant other will do things like, are you over your exes? That's an example of like, an FI user would only ask that if they were prepared for the answer.
yeah, but an FJ, I'm like, why would you ask that? Because if they say no, like you're gonna be hurt. Like, why would you be so curious if you?
But the curiosity, it's the TI of needing to know, and I'll be like, I'm prepared to be hurt. I just need to know more than I need to feel okay.
Yeah, as an FI user, I'm like, I will have to 100% make sure I can handle it before I do literally almost anything. And
or
yeah.
She'll say things. My INFJ girlfriend will be like, this is the first time I said that live, but anyway, she'll say things like, do you love me really? Things like that, that like, what if the answer was no?
Yes.
No, and no
Oh
NFP would do that.
I would never do that.
No NFP would do that because that would be too vulnerable for them to put themselves out there if they weren't prepared for the answer.
On the flip side, when we do ask, we are so prepared for the answer that it doesn't even matter anymore. We're like, I will know the answer and I am fully emotionally prepared. I've checked in with my FI. If it hurts, it hurts. But like, I think sometimes TIs will like kind of get into like a funk, like, wow, that hurt so much more than I thought. Oh,
I just got a comment from someone that said I'm a TI user and I don't take risks. The thing is that if you're a TP, then you might not take the same emotional risks that an FJ would take. But at the same time, you care more about understanding than you care about protecting your heart. And like, that's like really what I'm getting at here.
I would say like TPs they're relentlessly researching a lot, like logical like things, like they're not afraid of the truth essentially. They don't care, like they're not like stuck on logical fallacies, versus I suspect maybe like a TE user would be afraid of the truth almost. And I think TPs, they're not necessarily like putting themselves out there with FE, but they aren't afraid to argue, and they're not like afraid of like finding out more information the way I think sometimes I am.
Well, essentially what I said to Crystal is I realized how like my TI search of I need to know what the truth is of the situation. I need to know, okay, because I'm not giving this away. I'm not giving away your story. But what you guys need to know in order to understand is that there's this sort of limbo situation where you don't know if this person respects you or not. You don't know if you're gonna date this person or not. For me, if I was in limbo with somebody romantically, I would need to know where they stood with me, and I would say something. And it seems like FI users only do that if they feel like they're prepared for the answer. And I think that FI users can stay in limbo longer and not have understanding longer, because I was realizing how FI and TI, they exist on this axis. And so if you are doing all you can to protect your heart, then you are quite literally, by definition, you are you're the opposite of seeking information. You're putting walls up and having information not be there. You are not calling up the guy to ask if he wants to hang out because you're afraid, what if he doesn't care about me? And you aren't taking that risk, where TI wants to know, do you care about me? Do you not? Just let me know.
So I can move on.
Yes, yes. And so, no matter what judging function you use, you're gonna still like have emotions and you're gonna still be afraid of getting hurt. But the thing is that for me as an FJ, I am way more afraid of someone stringing me along. Okay, preach, sister, thank you. Lucid Dreamer, are you a TI user? I think you are, I can't remember. Remind me what your type is, if you like agreed with what I was saying.
Called out.
But okay, like I would so much rather, yes, okay. I so much would rather like protect myself from being strung around, and like to me, understanding feels good. I want to understand.
Yeah, and for me, I would say understanding doesn't always make me feel better, because
yes, because we just reached an understanding and you still have been moping about it, and I'm like not sure why. Okay, Cedric, you're a TI user, you'd rather know. Like if someone was, okay, this is like an outlandish scenario, but like if someone was cheating on you, you would want to know. Like every TI user, if they suspected someone was cheating, they would ask, are you cheating? And then even if they weren't emotionally prepared for the answer, they would rather be an emotional mess and just get the person out of their life and do what they need to do and know. But an FI user might be, I'm too afraid to confront it.
What I will say is I'm thinking about like,
I don't know about TE users. Someone said TE users as well. Rational thinking.
I'm trying to
I
think,
believe you're an NTJ.
It honestly, it depends on how strong your FI is about the situation.
Yes.
Like, that's what I'm trying to say. So
Okay, you take the mic.
maybe I should, whatever, I'm already live, I might as well be a little more candid. So essentially, I'm involved with a person in some way where I don't really know where I stand with them, and I've been kind of doing a lot of guesswork.
Okay, and the point I want to make too, sorry,
Go ahead.
is that this person won't read this, or this person will not watch it unless he's in love with you. And so it doesn't matter if you show it. Okay, this is my SE right now, is that say whatever you damn want about this person because they aren't going to know it's them unless they're in love with you and stalking you.
See,
So, yeah.
that's a thing for a whole different matter that
Anyway.
APs need to understand, so you just
Yeah.
open a can of worms.
Okay.
But okay, for the sake of explanation, I have a lot of FI about this person. Oh my god. I have a lot of FI about this person, and I'm essentially afraid to ask how they feel about me because I've gotten so emotionally attached to the situation. And this is, you know, like the archetype of like an INFP kind of pining and like writing all this poetry about this person and like never telling them. I'm like becoming that
She like
archetype.
leaves these little breadcrumbs everywhere.
Yeah, if you look at your social media, you know, if you look at my social media, you know what to look for. You will see the paper trail, I swear to God. But the point is, for me, it doesn't help to understand. Like I have like some fears about like what he actually thinks. It doesn't help to understand and debunk those fears, because at the end of the day, what I still want and what I still am sad about is that he doesn't care and such like that. So it's like, I will be like, okay, well, I don't think he's with that girl, or I don't think he hates me in this scenario, but I don't know the truth, and I'm afraid of that overall truth. Wow, Crystal. Okay, well,
This is my ENFP best friend.
yeah, I guess, whatever. Anyways, the point is, I just realized that like a TI user, they almost have like this steely resilience where they're so determined to be respected, but as an FI user, I'm determined to be happy, and I'd almost rather be happy without knowing the truth, because ignorance is bliss, and I have no problem honestly admitting that, because...
Okay, yeah, that is such an
Yeah.
EFP, like TI blind spot thing to think. Ignorant is bliss.
I mean,
and living okay with that.
I mean, it is, I don't think anyone without FI is really gonna understand this principle, and is just gonna make me sound like a total weak ass who can't handle like hard truths or such.
And that's not true, because you can handle the hard truth, but she is aware of the choice things that are in her FI and her personality that are going to naturally affect her more. And that's not everything. That's the thing about ENFPs and ESFPs, and really any FP, is that they are able to handle pretty much all situations, except for the situations that are actually hitting their sore spots. Where like
Yeah.
FJs, I might be like more naturally emotional about like kind of all things, but like an FP is like
And-
gonna be like
okay,
a hard ass.
let me put it this way. It's very, my specific fear about rejection, and I would say a lot of FI users' fears, is not just this silly like I just don't want to be rejected. It's more like the type of rejection I would experience in this specific situation is deeply connected to a lot of childhood scars regarding feeling like second best. And I am super hyper aware with FI that if I were to get information that would confirm I'm still in that pattern of being this unliked like middle school 13-year-old kind of, and like experience those feelings, then that'd be the worst thing. So it's not so much, because I have been rejected before and I have put myself out there with like people I care less about, but it's like almost like I'm protecting like my sense of identity, which is like I'm trying to build a new sense of identity from this person that would always feel rejected and such. So with this specific person who has done honestly some things that made me feel validated and not like a loser, I don't really want that bond to be totally decimated and such. So it's kind of like I built in my head an idea around what this means.
That just made me realize that FE and TI users are totally willing to almost decimate something. Oh, sorry that you're getting a jumpy connection. I'm doing my best.
Service
here.
is bad here. It's fine.
Yeah, I think FE and TI are perfectly willing to destroy something like for the truth. Like if it's not the truth, then why would you want it anyway, is kind of what FE and TI would think.
Yeah.
Like I'm totally willing to take risks in a relationship where it would like, ENFPs dislike huge social groups,
You also get so distracted by the like FE of the comments, and I'm just like, yes, people are watching. I would say yes. For me personally, I have a theory about how ENFJs and ENFPs like interact in groups, but I would rather Megan finish her point first before I get to that.
Sorry.
Your point was FETI will decimate.
Yeah, like perfectly willing to destroy what might seem like smooth, calm waters, because to us, to TI, it's fake. Like, ignorance might be bliss, but like, even though things might be going smoothly, it's not smooth. And that's why FE and TI users are perfectly willing to call someone like, are you cheating on me? Do you really love me? Is this for real? And like, willing to like, kind of almost ruin the peace.
I would say the way, yes, I would say that's true. I also say the way FPs spiral and overanalyze will be like the TE is. The TE is, you seem like you love me, but I also have this fear, and the fear must be grounded in some sort of TE fact. These facts conflict what's actually true. We don't think about like logical, like we don't think that our fears always make sense. We just don't know what to believe. And that's the theme of today. I've been like, I always think I don't know what to believe. And Megan was like, I don't think I've ever said that. And I was like,
yeah, I've never said that.
Like?
I don't really know what that is. Yeah, and then I was like, do TI users not say that expression? Because I do think that lots of expressions are kind of correlated with types.
Like,
and
ignorance is bliss is a totally TEFI thing. No TI user would ever think ignorance is bliss.
But I was trying to think of if I've ever said, I don't know what to believe, and I realized I haven't. And then earlier she asked why I wasn't talking, and I was like, oh, I guess because I don't know what to believe. But instead of saying out loud, I don't know what to believe, which kind of seems like you're resigned to not knowing, I'm like trying to figure it out.
Like, you know, I don't know what to believe, because to say I don't know what to believe is a conclusion maybe to TI, and I'm just like, oh, Megan's thinking about what to believe. She's like, I don't know what to believe right now, so I'm gonna figure out what to believe. And I'm like, I don't know what to believe, so I'm just gonna pray that this problem goes away in my head.
Yeah, I think it's kind of NI of me too, to sort of like know that there's got to be something out there in the SE or something. But
yeah,
anyway.
Oh, I wanted to get back to that comment about ENFPs being extroverted but disliking social groups. I think all EPs, which is ESFPs, ESTPs, ENFPs, and ENTPs thrive in one-on-one contexts. Like, I think that I'm really good at bonding with someone in a one-on-one way, because I can see with NE or SE, like if you're an ESP, what they're all about. But in a group, I get very overwhelmed because I see all of the perceptions of every single person and don't know how to gather them together and have a harmonious, cohesive introverted in group settings, which Megan can maybe attest to. Like, if I'm not comfortable, sometimes I'll just not talk the entire time.
Yeah.
Or I'll say one thing and then just shrink back. So I don't know how all ENFPs are. I think if we have FI bonds with every single person in the group, we can thrive. And if we feel that everyone in the group also has an FI bond with each other, but if we don't sense people are meshing, we're just gonna like shut down. Is kind of what I think.
And I also want to say that don't think that all FE users and all ENFJs and ESFJs are going to be like tremendous at this either, because it also stresses me out. We actually had like a group hang a couple nights ago with like 2 ENFJs that I know from college that are in a relationship, and then my INTJ friend from high school, and I haven't really talked to either of them or in like a gossip with my ENFJ friends about college, while also connecting on a FI way with my INTJ friend, who I could tell was annoyed whenever we were talking about FE stuff that he didn't know the people. And like, I was like trying really hard to like make sure that I was connecting with everyone. Which, side note, you guys, if there are any NTJs watching, I think one rational thinking you're here. I was realizing so much because I met my INTJ friend's significant other, who is an ENTJ. And I've never met him before, and I kind of didn't picture him with an ENTJ, but I was watching them both, and it was funny. Like, Crystal was sort of noticing how, even though I have such great rapport with these NTJs, how we were both missing each other's bids. That was pretty interesting too, if you have something to say.
I was like thinking like they would volunteer like an FI fact that, like, to me, if an FI user said that, I would automatically follow up and ask them more about that, but Megan would just like not pay attention, or she would say something where she wanted to share some TI and they would kind of just laugh uncomfortably and like move on or something.
Yeah, like we weren't able to acknowledge each other's bids, but the thing, and this is sort of a natural thing I feel with a lot of NTJs, where I just feel kind of like peace, like we get each other. but it's very hard to crack one another, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like the NI of like you're on the same wavelength, sort of. You just can't really say anything to actually put it on the SE.
We went to like a gay bar in LA with like the two NTJ guys and me, and like she was like kind of watching how all of our NI was sort of reacting to the same things and making like the same sort of, yeah, I know it's Sunday, sorry. We forgot.
Oh, who
but
cares? Yeah.
But anyway, like we were like reacting to the same things, and like Crystal was like, oh, you guys are like I like could tell I'm on the same wavelength as these NTJs, but there were times when they would say something and I would take that as, oh, they don't want to go deeper into that topic. They don't like sharing about themselves, so I'm not gonna pry. Where she viewed that as like FI bids of something
like,
to say.
Like, keep on, keep going on, share more FI. Or like FI users will kind of want someone to like ask them, ooh, what do you think about that? If they share like a little bit sometimes, and she wouldn't do that.
It was so funny, like my INTJ friend was talking about his boyfriend, and since he never has talked to me about his relationship, and I guess view him as someone that doesn't like to talk about that stuff, and so he said something about it, and I was trying to just be respectful and not pry, and then she goes, ooh, do you love him? And he got, oh my god,
he was like, maybe, and I was like, tell me more, and then he told us a little bit more, and Megan was like,
and I was like, oh, I never would have even asked because I've just been trying to be respectful or whatever. And so that's like another way of how like TE and FE, but okay, I know that the topic of this video is TI versus FI, and so really the main point I wanted to even address is that I really am realizing that TI and FI, you can't do both at the same time. And so the more that she's protecting her FI, the less she's going to seek understanding.
yep, and I'm kind of okay with that, I
and
guess.
the more that TPs seek understanding, the more likely it is that you are going to just completely not acknowledge someone's humanity and kind of be an asshole by accident.
No, yeah,
like if you were just like
100%.
seeking understanding only and you can't even figure out when to.
What I'm afraid of, because this guy is like a TJ, but one of those like, it's like a cat. It's like when you approach a cat and you gotta like kind of pet it and like coax it into trusting you. Like I'm afraid if I were to use too much FE and TI on this person, I would like essentially like scare them and make them more scared, and thus definitely not get what I want and not get the truth either, because they'd be too afraid to say any semblance of the truth. So I'm just like, I'm at a lose-lose, and I'm like, I might as well protect my FI because nothing seems to work out. And I think the best healthy thing for me to do is like incorporate the TI perspective into my perspective and try not to be as scared and like weaseling to my corner with FI, but it's still hard because I'm like trying to incorporate things in my blind spot that I feel like contradicts what my FI is.
Yeah, but the kind of funny thing too is if you guys can kind of see how FI and TI can't really be happening at the same time. TE and FE are the same way. They have the same relationship to one another. And so the story I was just telling about me interacting with my NTJ friends, I was scanning their behavior for FE signs that they like me, and I did not see any of that.
But
they probably couldn't see the TE. Because here's the thing is, my friend, the INTJ friend, I literally have to deduce that we are friends because in my view, he doesn't show the FE signs that we are.
Like, what are the FE signs?
I don't really know, but I can deduce, like, I have to just use TE to realize that we are friends because I'm in town for a week and a half and he has already volunteered to see me 3 times, and I thought we would just want to hang out once because I didn't think he wanted to see, because he doesn't act like, I mean, like, I don't know, like, he's not like, OMG, we're friends, like, I mean, with FE.
To me, it's so funny because I see that he does that. He just maybe doesn't do it at the times FE's looking.
Yeah, and so it's like, I literally, I won't feel the FE warmth, but like, because I know that TE exists, the problem with FE is that if you use too much, it conflates the message enough that it isn't valid anymore. Interesting. But yeah, like,
I think that's the humanity thing that she was acknowledging. Like, TI users will get so caught up in the truth that they'll be maybe a little disrespectful even.
Yeah, but it's like interesting because I deduced that we are friends because he invited himself to hang out twice, and so I'm like, oh, I mean, he must consider me a friend. It's like I have to use FI and TE to read, because if I was just looking for the FE signs, then it's like I shared something about my life and he just goes, oh, and he doesn't say anything about it. But she found it interesting, I think, to watch I don't know. I really love NTJs. I just wish I understood them better.
Yeah, I was watching and I was like, well, he clearly likes you because he went out of his way, and that would be incriminating proof enough to me that
Yes.
he cares.
That's it. And but then now I realize it's like I might seem super friendly, but I don't go out of my way, which is I think a more TE thing to do. Do you think TE users go out of their way more?
If they care about you.
Yeah. I'm like afraid to go out of my way because I don't want to like look too intense, especially if it's not going to be received well. And so I like kind of look for FE bids in order to know. But anyway.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm like, at the same time FE looks for like bids like that, they also aren't afraid to confront the truth that their personal TI cares about it. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm always trying to not rock the boat insofar as hard conversations I know are going to be emotionally triggering for people.
I think FE, TE, TI, and FI all has their own way of bids.
Yeah, well, isn't that just like a person thing, bids? Like, all people have their own ways.
Well, yeah, they all have their own bids, but the reason why I said the judging functions is because that's how you communicate the bid, I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's just hard because I often, because TI is my blind spot, if I have to use TI, I will forget my FI, and then I'll be beating myself up. But then if I use FI, I'll be like, but what the fuck should TI do? And I think there's no winning, there's no happy medium a lot of the time. So,
there's one more thing I want to share. Is there anything else you want to talk about with FI and TI?
If anyone has any ideas on how to healthily incorporate both, especially if you're an EP, let me know. Because I'm sure ETPs also struggle with trying to incorporate FI into their perspectives.
Because I would probably say for you, let me know if I'm correct, is that you know that TI is something you don't have, and you know that it's not good to not pursue understanding and to just be protecting yourself, but you're like, I'm an ENFP, so how much should I really be doing that?
Yeah, because I have the tendency to go overboard on all or nothing and go totally into TI and be like, wow, I'm wasting my time, I'm so stupid, give up now. When sometimes, maybe if I had conscious TI, they would have a way of logically making it make sense, but I don't have that, so I can only think about what TE actions to perform. I can't think about how to make it make sense.
So here's something I said to Crystal that I want to know your guys' comments on. Comment below, let me know. But I was like, what if the goal of typology is to know that all of these functions exist and to have like your blind spot in your 8th function, especially like your 7th and 8th, the functions that you are the weakest at, to have them fueled up, charged, and ready to go, but in your back pocket, and to never need them. To know how to use them if you need to use them, but to never need them because you're so good at your top 2 functions that you literally don't need them. That's what I don't know if that's the answer, but that's something I was wondering, is like, what if we were able to at least understand, like you were able to at least understand TI enough so that if you had to use it, you could, but you choose not to.
Yeah.
To sort of like evolve past being a slave to how your mind operates and instead being on top of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would say that like our friendship has really helped a lot with that, because you'll give me honestly like the watered down version of SC and TI with no SI and TE, and I'll be forced to figure out what works for me. Which is why I kind of miss having STP friends, honestly, because they get the SI and TE and why the fuck I would still care, because they see the pattern that has kept me hanging on and such.
I've never attracted an STJ friend, unfortunately.
Yeah, STPs and I get along pretty well whenever they're actually in my life, but then usually they leave for some reason.
I swear an STJ would just think that my decisions make no sense, and they'd probably think I'm impulsive as fuck because they wouldn't understand like why I make my decisions and how they actually are calculated risks.
Yeah, what I will say about this person that I'm referring to is their FE is so bad because they're trying really hard to protect their FI too, and even though it's like, for me, it's also an FE-TE battle for me. It's like my FE feels so hurt by their actions, but my TE 100% gets where they're coming from. Yeah. And I don't know which one to choose, because sometimes I'll be really mad and want to cut them off. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, but it's fine. And I'll always be kind of prepared for somewhere in the middle, the day when I will finally cut them off, or I'll finally get what I want.
Do you think that all ENFs are pretty all or nothing, or do you think that, because I'm noticing how you are pretty all or nothing in a completely different way than I am. It's almost like you decide if you want to turn your FI on or off for someone. If you want to accept their TE excuse or not.
Yeah, I would say ENFs are kind of all or nothing in different ways.
Yeah. Maybe we all are in different ways. I don't know.
Yeah, in relationships, yeah, I think. ENFJs might demand respect, absolutely, and ENFPs might, like, be like, if I know what the T excuse is, it's good. But for me, I also just know that confrontation does not always get me the answers I'm seeking, because people have different levels of awareness and different ways of explaining. So I just think that if I don't have TI prepared with me and SE about what I think now and revise that, new information will just trigger me further and make me withdraw and make me believe something false again. So what I envy about TI users is they always have what they already think in their mind, and if I go in with nothing, it's like I'm unprepared.
Yeah, TJs do suck at courtship. This is what like I said in my other live video, is that I think that TJs, you need to just date more, because the thing is that they aren't gonna date someone unless they think that they're the one and that they love them. You kind of have the same problem, honestly. It's a very FI and TE problem. You're gonna wait until you are absolutely in love to make a move, but then once you're absolutely in love, you're scared.
You're too scared.
You're too scared. Like, so, I don't know. And this is the thing, okay, I've told Crystal several times, and I'm gonna brag on you for a sec, and then this is like the last thing I wanna say, and then I wanna maybe get something to eat. Crystal does not settle. Her FI is so pure. She will not show any affection unless she absolutely means it with her FI. And because of that, sometimes she is down on herself for not having enough strong relationships in like dating history and stuff like that. But I think she's bold as fuck, because so many people are in fake relationships. And it's honestly a total FE problem. Like, I have been guilty of being in fake relationships. I've been guilty of convincing myself that this person was great when they really weren't that great, and like ignoring all the signs. She does not put up with that shit. Like, she knows how she feels, and that's it. And so many people settle in relationships. And it's like, I think the advice I always give her. Are you mad?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay. Sometimes I can't tell if I'm like crossing a line with sharing things about FI users, and I always feel bad. But
I'll let you know. I'm confrontational.
I always manage that giving away anything that would be incriminating or making someone look bad.
And I also don't care anymore. So.
Okay.
Oh,
okay,
that's
cool.
an example. I'm like not afraid of the truth of, oh, what if he sees this? I'm like, well, fuck you if you see it. Now you know. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that the way I view Crystal's problem, that I always say to her, is that you either can begin to settle and date more people, or just be okay with the fact that you are that way, and stop comparing yourself to people that are, to TI, like, doing something different than you. Like people who have different standards are of course going to date more people. But if you have standards, I guess what I always think about your problem is that you either need to stick to your standards or change your standards. There's really nothing else to do. You can either be like, yes, these are my standards, and I know that this is going to be the hard thing to do, but I care about my standards, or you change them.
Yeah, I've been aware for a while that like I'd rather be alone than be in a fake relationship, but then I realized lately that being alone kind of sucks. So I'm like, great, so I'll have to just somehow pray harder that I'll somehow randomly meet someone who's gonna make me feel amazing, or change. And I don't want to change, so I guess I'll just have to readjust to wanting to be alone, even though my desire is changing.
You're so brave.
Yeah, well, oh well.
There are flaws that can't be fixed. If there's one of them, it's a waste of time. Oh my god. I think that TE users in general are very focused on wasting time, and I think that for her, without having any sort of TI there, that is like the biggest fear that keeps coming up. Is not wanting to waste your time. But then imagine being an ENFP and not having the TI, and not knowing how to know if you're wasting your time, not knowing how to deduce what is going to be the most logical thing to do, but still having that fear. And that's how FPs get caught in not doing anything, because they don't want to waste their time, because their energy is so precious. So,
and my time is so precious.
Yeah,
and
so you hate to do something wrong.
And I'm like trying to honor my FI at all times, but super aware of the TI and TE that, oh my god, like it would suck to be in a fake relationship. It would also suck to be like deluding myself the way I see some FJ is doing with relationships.
Yeah, a lot of FJs
don't leave soon enough, and I don't want to be that person that doesn't leave soon enough. I constantly ask myself if I should be leaving, or emotionally leaving, that is. We're not dating.
Yeah, but I think that also FJs and TPs always convince themselves, I'm fine, when they're not fine, like whether they're dating the person or not.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm not fine at all times. And whenever TI users ask me, do you know that you're not? I'm like, yeah, I fucking know. Like, ugh. But, I mean, what can you do? Like, you can't control everything. And I think that I, as an ENFP who really values TE, will try to control my perception, like, super hard.
Siren of the Void, are you saying that you relate to what she's saying?
Yeah, because she's an INFP, so she's an FI Dom and, like, feels it even more. As an ENFP, I can, like, kind of skip over my FI and sometimes not realize how much I'm hurt. I don't need to deduce I'm hurt. But if I feel it stabbing me, I'm just like, ah, shit. All right, well. Yeah. I'm always trying at all times what the best thing to do to honor my FI is. And sometimes I just feel like stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, I'm like, well, if I don't do this, I'm going to feel bad. If I do this, I'm also going to feel bad. Oh, wait, it's because I already feel bad. I must deal with this emotion before doing it.
I think the truth is, though, that most decisions, you are a rock and a hard place. And that's the thing. That's just how it is. The SE and TI here is that it's very, very rare that you have a decision that you can make that is amazing. Like, you are almost always having to choose between the lesser of both. And the hope is, at least my hope, as like an NFJ, like the way that I'm using, I don't know if you guys can tell that I'm using SE on her right now. I'm telling that's how it is. Where a lot of times NPs are like, I don't know what to do with that information.
Yeah. Also, for those watching, if I like look upset and just like sad right now, it's not because of what Megan's doing. It's me reacting to the situation at hand. So if any of you TV's like, you're being so harsh, Megan, that's not true. Like,
yeah,
I'm just already miserable, whether or not someone was here or not.
It's another FI thing is that they react to their own feelings. They aren't reacting to. FE users think that whenever someone's reacting, it's like, oh, I made them do that. Which FI is like, that's rude. That's my feeling. You didn't make me do anything.
Yeah, I'm just like, stop making it about you. Like,
yeah, and I always have been guilty of that, of thinking, oh no, I made this person mad. And they're like, no, you don't have the power to make me mad.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you don't have the power. That's what TJs do. Kidding. ENFPs hate being
Do
controlled.
ENFJs feel the same? I'd say yeah, but
it's controlled in a different way.
I think that ENFPs are objectively more easily manipulated because they aren't trying to control. If you aren't paying attention.
I don't think we naturally pay attention to if we're being manipulated. Or you'll be like me, where I am so aware it could be manipulated at any time that I will almost ignore the truth because I don't want to find out I've been manipulated. It's like contradictory because I'm always reacting to that fact that I could be easily manipulated at any time.
Here's the thing is that since ENFPs, they go with it, they go with what's going on, then if they don't be careful, then they can be manipulated. But ENFJs are always trying to control the situation, and so they're gonna catch if someone is manipulating them quickly because we are manipulators in a way. You know, we manipulate situations. We're aware, like we put our FE force on that, but gosh, what was I saying before? I was talking about you.
Oh,
before you were like, oh, Megan's not being me. Oh, I'm using SE on the situation. Okay, so you're thinking, what can we do? I'm saying that's just how it is, and that every decision is a rock in a hard place. And I guess I was gonna say what keeps me going as a beta in socionics, which is an NFJ or an STP. What keeps me going, I think a lot of STPs and NFJs will relate to, is hopefully you keep choosing the better between the rock and a hard place, and then it just keeps getting better. Like, that's the hope.
I think I don't believe inherently that it's gotten better, and I don't believe that I've learned anything from my previous mistakes with relationships.
I view it as like a checkpoint, is that you keep growing somehow. You keep evolving to a more complex issue. Like if you start at rock bottom and then you make a decision, and if you make the better decision, then you're gonna go to a better place. I view it as like going up the stairs. I don't like think that they're all.
I don't think Delta's viewed that way.
I mean, I don't think. It's almost like you view them as all separate instances, and I like view it as like the story of my life or something.
Well, I guess how about this? If we were to use a video game metaphor, I just never believe I'm leveling up. I just believe I'm just playing the same level over and over, but I think I beat it, but I actually didn't.
Yeah, something she was saying earlier that was interesting is she was comparing this situation with a situation that happened a couple years ago, and she was like, I feel like I'm learning the same lesson, and I was like, it's not the same lesson, it's the same subject. It's like you're taking algebra and you're moving on to like level 2 algebra. And then she was like saying that, oh, in school even, what did you say about, Like quite literally.
Oh, I fucking hated when I had to take what looked to me like similar subject material when I was like, we already fucking went over this.
Like in school she did this.
Like I wasn't like so afraid it was the same subject, but I was annoyed when the subject material would be almost like feeling like a review of the previous lesson already completed, and I'm just like.
And I think that NI connects those dots more, realizing that you need to go deeper into what you're learning. Yeah.
Yeah, we're streaming live. Anyways.
You're so...
This is why I'm not a YouTube personality. Like, I'm like, do we have to acknowledge every single comment? Like, I guess this is just me being kind of bitchy. But I'm just like...
She is kind of bitchy.
Yeah, like, I don't like feeling like, oh, I compared it to Groundhog's Day, the movie, where Bill Murray is going through the same fucking day. The topic is FI versus TI. We're comparing how you can get stuck and such. Anyways, I was saying, like, I feel like I'm in Groundhog's Day where I'm living the same thing over and over, and what if I don't realize it? And
yeah, and I think I know as like an NFJ that, like, at least, I don't know if all NFJs know this, but I literally know that life gets more and more complex. Situations and challenges get more and more complex, and you're always leveling up. That's like the goal. Like, everyone in humanity is growing and evolving. It's impossible to go backwards.
You know, I don't think SFPs would have the same struggle as me, because it's a lot of it's rooted in SI, where my SI is so triggered from the feelings of being second best that thematically followed a lot of experiences I've had, and so I'm looking for that evidence again, that I'm going through that again now. And the thing is, my NI is stronger, so I've noticed it's not the exact same, but I fear that maybe it is. I don't trust that NI.
Something that I really trust that maybe is just a me thing, but I think is an NI thing, is like everything, like if you look around, yeah, that's fair. Even though I kind of weirdly commented on you, anyway, sorry, I'm gonna not look, okay. Sorry, I hate whenever I always lose what I'm about to say.
I also realized that as an NFP, I can be talking and reading and still talking and then just like...
Yeah, it distracts me. But, oh, the NI that I really believe in and see is that if you look around, everything is always evolving, everything's always growing, everything in nature. It's impossible. You plant a seed, it might not grow as big as you thought, but it's still growing somewhere. It's going somewhere. It might die, but it's still moving. I don't know.
I just know that deep down it does matter, so I'll try to acknowledge it once in a while and then be freaked out by how much I don't acknowledge it. And at the end of the day, I think our values make sense with an inner pattern. I just know that deep down it does matter, so I'll try to acknowledge it once in a while and then be freaked out by how much I don't acknowledge it. And of consistency that TI isn't gonna 100% understand, because it's based on everything we've experienced and what makes us happier and what makes it work, which is why you'll see some FPs, they're kind of evil because it works for them to be rude. That is emotionally consistent for their happiness. So it's always what's going to make me logically happier, perhaps, not what actually makes sense in a TI way.
Yeah, and it's actually fascinating to me how much you really don't care. Okay. I did like the keto diet, and I was saying that I'm kind of mostly vegan now, and I was like, isn't it so fascinating to you how there's science that proves the vegan diet and the keto diet, even though they're completely different diets? Isn't that fascinating? And he was just like, well, I mean, I just knew that I wanted to do the keto diet because I liked that sort of food better, and it seems to work for me. He didn't care, honestly, as much about which one is it. There's like, I think it's like TI that's like, which one of these is it? There's evidence for both. Oh my goodness. And I think TE can kind of be like, yes, there's evidence for both. You can make evidence for anything.
I think I like TJs because they'll acknowledge that. They'll be like, I'll be like spiraling, and they'll be like, it's okay that there's evidence for both. They'll like naturally say that. You've been using that more on me lately, but I think you had to consciously try to use TE to acknowledge me. But I think TJs are always like, it doesn't matter if there's evidence for both, you just do what you fucking want. FE is kind of like, well, I don't know what your needs are, but I'm going to say mine anyway. So it's like, TJs just really understand this, because I'm constantly mad that I'm not logically consistent, even though I am an FJ. So, or sorry, even though I do have FI, so I always spiral and like beat myself up a little bit about that, because I'm like, having FI is great, but really it's not that great. I wish there was a happy medium for FI and TI, but we're working on it, I guess.
Anyway, guys, we're gonna get going exploring LA, which, oh my gosh, I just want to say that LA is so FI to me. Like, everyone just loves themselves, and I think it's a perfect place for NFPs to motivate themselves. Maybe even me, who knows? But thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Anything else you want to say?
Weird.
Oh, haha. It's really funny that you ask what I think about SI users, because the guy I'm talking about is TJ.
Yeah, we can talk more about SI another time. Yeah, and we actually, the ISTJ that commented, I forget your username, we actually have a video where we talked for like an hour about introverted sensing if you're interested. Oh, you live close to LA? Yeah, it is colder, and I'm so upset because I wanted to go like to the beach. And we both reluctantly like brought jackets that don't match our outfits. And so it's annoying because in Missouri it's so much hotter. And I like think that, oh, California is gonna be so nice outside, but it's like way nice. Anyway, thank you guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, comment below, I guess. Bye.
Comment below. Bye. Okay, wait, how do I turn this off? That's another whole issue.
I think you clicked X.
Okay, are you sure that you want to stop streaming?
Yep.
Yes.